Now, Rosemary. Where is Rosemary? Rosemary, Nicholas, as we know, and I'll explain, is the consummate diplomat, but Rosemary also began life as a diplomat. And I always see her as one of, just as Alina is going to be a wonderful representative of Noon, Rosemary is a wonderful representative of Somerville, where she studied. I mean, Mary Somerville, as you may know, was a doughty fighter. I would say feisty, but that's no longer possibly allowed anymore. So I'm using the word doubt. She was a doughty woman scientist. She had many, many firsts as a woman, including joining the Royal Astronomical Society as a first. I know all this because I'm running a course at Somerville at the moment, but I knew it anyway. And she fought for the rights of women and argued for votes. She argued so trenchantly that women should have the votes that John Stuart Mill asked her to sign his pledge on this first, and then consequently left his wonderful library to the college. You know, so that's how much he thought of her. And I sort of see Rosemary as having continued to keep that flame alive. You've been a wonderful member of our trust, and you've always reminded us that we must think hard about women, promoting women, thinking about women, thinking about the backgrounds from which they've had to come through. And obviously, things have improved, but there's still a lot of work to do. And particularly looking at women from more rural backgrounds and from more unusual universities, how much they go through to be able to get to the point where they could be considered for a scholarship to Oxford and Cambridge. And you've been a great reminder of that. And of course, you eventually left your career, but then you came back to study art, to study antiques, to do journalism, to do a DPhil on colonial women, women writers in colonial India. And you've been a wonderful help to us. And I think what you told me was that the real pleasure you've had is to be able to deliver on the aims of Vicky Noon, who you much admired and knew well. You liked her vivacity, her charm, her effort, her hard work, her honour, and I think you've done that splendidly. So we're going to miss you, Rosemary. Thank you for all that you've done. And now I want to say a few words about Nicholas.
Only a few.
Well, what I'm struggling with, Nicholas, is that you have so many parts. You're a man of many parts. We all know you as the consummate diplomat. I mean, you were in Iran, where you were crucially also involved in the hostage issue. And I was hoping that Terry Waite would be here, because he's also, figured not in that issue, but in similar issues. You've been in Brussels, in Japan, in Egypt, and in Pakistan. And if we didn't know about your diplomatic past and the many things that you've done, you made sure by reminding us in your memoirs. So you produced...
Really quite enjoyable. I've been rereading them.
I think it's a very good reason for writing memoirs. When you get to the point where you need to be reminded about your own life, you start duplicitating about it, then you could read the memoir and hope that that was the correct version. But as many of you may have dipped into them or even read them from cover to cover, you know that so much was there that he actually had to produce 2 volumes. So volume 1, Envoy, obviously 450 pages, but there was a second volume because otherwise, you couldn't have actually lifted it off your bedside table to read even lying in bed. There was a second volume which he rather smartly called Nicholas Meets Barrington. And whenever I read that, I think of Descartes. What the heck would Descartes have made of that? I am, but I am twice.
It was actually the headline in a Pakistan paper. I was calling on various people, the British High Commissioner calls it and I saw a headline saying Nicholas meets Barrington. I thought that's the story of my life.
Oh, I see. So that was
it.
where you got the inspiration.
It was
Well, I see.
I thought
you'd done what they call modernist writing of a novel form. You know, those who are experts, and I'm in a reading group, and I constantly get stumped by this, where the author kind of appears in the book. And the book I've just read, Paul Auster. Paul Auster actually is the author and the detective, and he appears in the book. And apparently this is a fantastic book. Anyway, the point is you're a man of many parts. You're a linguist. You learnt Farsi, some Japanese, some French obviously you knew. You're a brilliant sketcher. I mean, I don't know if anyone's had the privilege of being sketched by Nicholas. Presumably when he's a little bit bored during one of the meetings. But he never makes us bored.
Some sketches are in the memoirs, actually.
Very good. He's also a bit of an archaeologist. I'm told by Rupert, where's Fenella? I was told by your dad that on one of the visits to the embassy, you went off on a jaunt into the desert, and even the driver got quite nervous about where you went. And then you kind of parked the car and you zoomed off walking into the hills looking for some ruins which you were determined to find and were there on a map. He can't remember where precisely, the South Vuristan, he thinks about. And they had some blue tiles there, and there were some stupas. And they were so covered in everything and growth and so on that obviously no one had visited them for quite a while. But Nicholas intrepidly sort of went on until he discovered it, you know, and even Rupert, who obviously is a bit younger, you know, even he was a bit nervous about, you know, whether they would get lost or so.
In the tribal territory in Pakistan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there you are. You're also a bit of a sportsman. You don't like to lose at tennis matches, I'm told. I mean, I was always told that you should lose to, you know, someone that you're trying to impress because it's tactically sensible. But I think you're too competitive.
I was champion of North Vietnam and Afghanistan. Very carefully chosen.
There you are. There you are. I don't know. Do you like swimming? Because
I like to keep afloat.
You like to keep an eye on it. I wondered if you kept an eye on Princess Diana, who, when she visited you. I'm told that she regularly had a swim in your pool.
Absolutely.
And
I saw
that was probably the good.
Of her as she went down into the pool.
I'm sure.
I was tactful enough not to.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. Regular dips, daily dips. I'm told, daily dips in the pool. But have you invented a game? I'm told by